This is
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back, Championship Leadership Podcast. We got Eliot Marshall with us here today out of Colorado. Thanks for being here, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on, Nate. How are you?
Absolutely. I'm doing good. Doing good. So I always like to kick off our conversation with the name of the podcast, Championship Leadership. So interested to hear your answer here as a former UFC fighter and athlete, and now also as a coach and a trainer of other fighters and athletes as well. What does championship leadership mean to you when you hear that?
Can you get someone to realize their potential? Employees, athletes, whoever it is, you know, everyone has whatever their potential is. Can you be a guide to increasing it so that they, and then first make sure that they actually can realize, like, wherever their current potential level is, can they achieve more? And then can you push it up a little bit?
Yeah. I love that. What is there, like, is there a moment where you realize that, like, all right, you know, when you see the athlete or the fighter maybe that realizes that, hey, like, kind of, I think obviously you're always trying to grow and get better, right? But at the same time, reaching that potential, like you said, is there a moment that you see it and you know that it's happened, or what's that like? What's that process like?
Man, I think it's when you see someone realize, I don't know, when you see someone get good with who they are, when you see them know who they are, first of all, that's the most important piece. And then realize that outside events can't really touch that unless they allow it. And that's when you can surpass. That's when you can really start to achieve.
Yeah.
Because if you think that this outside event is going to destroy you, it's a limiting factor, right? Very few people can work under that kind of pressure.
Yeah. I see you got the man in the arena behind you.
I got two quotes, man. These are the quotes that I live my life by. First, Martin Luther King over there, and then and we can get into why if you want, but
please. Yeah, absolutely. Man in the arena is like it's kind of how I try to live my life, for sure. So it's part of what I do.
So I personally believe that you can't do the man in the arena if you don't do this one first.
Yeah, can you share that one?
Yeah, so this one is the Martin Luther King quote. It says, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." So first and foremost, you have to love yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You have to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, then it's impossible to really achieve, to like really achieve. It will crumble. Even when you do achieve, it will crumble because you don't love who you are. So then it leads to the next question: who are you? What does it mean to be you? Like when I ask, who is Nate Bailey? What does that mean?
Yeah.
So I know who I am, and it took me a really long time to figure out who I am, and it took a lot of crying and therapy, a lot of everything, a lot of meditating, a lot of but I know who I am. So now that I know who I am, so let's do my I ams real fast. I'm a father. Inside father is husband. I'm a teacher, I'm a student, I am a fighter, and I'm a survivor. And all of those things right there make me enough. So my question for you, Nate, is which one of those things could you falsify? Make one of them true, make one of them false. Could you do that?
Could you do it?
I'm asking you, try to make one of my I ams. Teacher, father, teacher, student, fighter, survivor.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't know how I couldn't unless your actions weren't really truly lining up with that, right? But
even when they don't, go ahead.
You're not a teacher.
I'm not a teacher. Why don't you call some of my students, and when I die, even if they leave me today, and ask them if I was their teacher, what's their answer? Their answer is yes. It has to be.
Yes, right.
It has to be yes. So it's always true. It's considered someone's teacher at some point. Right?
Yeah.
So they're all true. Like the only one that can be falsified is survivor. Because when I die, I'm not a survivor anymore. Okay. But every other one is true all the time. It's always true. So if that's who I am, and those are the things that make up Eliot, and they're always true. No outside event can touch them. If I do something really well and I make $10 million, oh, look at me, good job. But does it touch who I am? Nope. If I do something really terrible, right, and I fuck everything up, right, if I just destroy whatever project I was working on and I lose $10 million, does it touch who I am? Nope. So I try very hard to be what I like to call unfuckable with. You just can't
Mhm.
fuck with me.
Yeah.
So if I'm unfuckable with, it gives me the space to do this.
Yeah.
The critic can't count.
Yeah.
The doer, the only one that counts is the doer of the deeds. So I can just walk into the arena over and over and over again. And I can try and fail and I can try and do really well, either one. So when I'm really successful, um, cool, good for me. When I'm not successful, all right, we'll try again. But it allows for this idea of what I like to, what one of my coaches likes to call neutral thinking, right? Where like I can go up to an 8 and I can go down to a 6, but I kind of hang out at 7 all the time. Right. So nothing gets too high and nothing gets too low. So that I just stay golden.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
golden all the time.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I love that. Is that something that you take into these athletes that you work with?
Yeah. Yeah. Who are you?
Yeah.
Who are you?
How much time do you spend on that?
Every day.
Yeah.
Like I'm about to get on the phone when we're done. I have she just fought a couple weeks ago, so she got a little bit of a break from me. But I have a meeting in in 50 minutes.
Yeah.
And like if you could see my phone, she has to text me every day what her IMs are.
That's awesome. I love it.
Every day she texts me during fight camp. That way it's so solidified in her head that the fight won't fuck with her.
Yeah.
Like so she can go out there and actually try and actually put it all on the line because she's not afraid of said outcome, and what that will do, quote unquote, to her. Like, yeah, sure, you'll have less money, but man, come on, we've all fucked up some money before, right?
Right.
Yada yada, like when we've all made money before and whatever, you know. It's your choice whether or not you let that touch you. It's
Yeah.
your choice whether you let the opinions of the outside world touch you. It's your choice whether you not let the opinions of anybody touch you.
Hmm. So maybe share a little bit more about you and like how's that path on that journey to get there? Like, have you always loved yourself?
Oh God, no.
I'm guessing no, but yeah,
No.
like what was that process? What was the story? What maybe give us a little peek into uh that journey for you and how
Yeah,
you
so I call it the gospel of fire, baby. Like you have to go get forged,
yeah,
and the sword gets forged in the fire, and that's the gospel. For me, that's the gospel. I'm not super religious. I am very spiritual. Uh, where did it start? It started as a young kid being born in 1980 to a black dad and a Jewish mom whose parents survived the Holocaust. And not the Holocaust here in America. The concentration camps. They dealt with Hitler. So fear was always my life. But if I'm born in 80, rewind my dad's life. My dad grew up, in civil rights. So when he couldn't use the same water fountains and the same bathrooms, he's experienced that, so you're afraid, and for good reason, right? Like
right,
not, from my dad's side, and obviously, I hope we don't have to explain the atrocities of the Holocaust. So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah, and your whole life is based in fear, like your entire life. Like still to this day, man. Like I was a couple weeks ago when I was going to the fight, uh, and we get quarantined with the UFC, right? Like you fly to Vegas, they put you in the hotel, you don't leave the fucking hotel. So
how
for
long?
5 days.
Okay.
Uh, so my dad like goes, Elliot, be careful, and I'm like, Dad, I'm gonna be locked away.
Yeah,
like I don't need but he can't help it.
yeah,
It's so ingrained in him.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah,
So, yeah, and then it like, and then I had a tough life where I, in the sense, a tough life in the sense of at some point, let me back up and start that over. I had great parents. My parents were fucking amazing. My nuclear family, amazing. Like no one had a better nuclear family than I did. But at some point, your parents can't do it for you anymore, right? Like I got these two boys in the room next to me sleeping. They're 11 and one's about to be 8 here soon. I'm running out of time with the 11-year-old, right? He's going
Right.
to need the outside world, right? He's going to need his peers, his friends, to fill his cup up. Your parents can't fill your cup up. I heard a really good line the other day. It was in a show for kids. You are always, as parents, you are always theirs, but they're not always yours,
Yeah.
right? Like they go away from you,
Yeah.
you know? So, we moved to a new town when I was 8 years old. And, when we were building a house there and we drove up, spray painted with swastikas and Nigers go home and, all this kind of stuff. And so we weren't going to be very accepted in this town.
Yeah.
And we weren't. And that continued all the way through high school where, it was, I had, two friends. Neither one of them went to my school. I could
Where'd you
go
grow up?
South Jersey.
Okay.
I know it's so crazy to people, like everyone asks me this question, where'd you grow up? But it's, this was my life. And everyone's like, oh, South Jersey, it's fine. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Right. And, you like, where'd any of us grow up? It could be your town too.
Right.
We just don't know. Because you have to think it's 1980. There weren't many black men married to white women at the time.
Mhm.
It wasn't super kosher.
Yeah. Right.
Right. It's 41 years ago now, almost, right? So
Yeah.
not crazy, normal.
Yeah.
Right? Normal. That's what the world was. So
That was crazy to think it was 41 years ago.
right, yeah.
I was like, dang.
I know. We're old. How old are you? How old are you?
40. I'll be 45 here soon. So
Okay, yeah. So
yeah.
but yeah, that was my life. Alone. Except martial arts. I always had martial arts. I started karate when I was 6 years old, and that was like my savior. That's what, like, martial arts saved my life. So that's most of my childhood.
Yeah. Yeah. So, um, what was the road to the UFC for you?
So the road to the UFC was first Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
I found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and right when I was 17, 18 years old, I had a friend who was doing karate with me. He dodged we were going to the national tournament, and he dodged the adult division. He went to the old man division. And you have to think karate is not the UFC, right? So you'll fight your friends. It's only point sparring. So you don't really hit each other.
Yeah.
And he dodged my division, and I was like, you fucking pussy. What are you doing?
Right.
He was good. He was very good.
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, you think I'm a pussy? He's like, come over to my house next Friday. And I was like, sure, I'll fuck you up then. So I go over his house, and in 1997, I had no clue what jiu-jitsu was. And he was doing it, and he beat my ass.
Wow.
And I was like, oh man, I got to learn this stuff. So I learn it, and a little bit, okay, because
Yeah.
the closest school again was an hour and a half away,
Yeah. It's not like today, right? Where you can
right.
find
Well, there's a lot of things that aren't like today. There's nothing called Uber.
right. Right. Totally.
Okay. There was no mass transit by where I lived. Okay. So I mean, like, if there was Uber, I would have taken the Uber. I would have taken Uber to a bus station, but there's no way to do that.
Yeah.
So I know everyone's like, oh, you can make it happen. You couldn't then. I had a bike.
Yeah. Right.
And you can, and an hour by car is like 6 hours by bike. So no.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So I learned a little bit over the summer, I go back to school for my senior year of high school, and then some of these wrestlers heard, I was talking about it and something, I don't know. And they're like, yeah, we'll roll you up. And I was like, okay, let's do it. I just wanted to see, because I was so intrigued.
Yeah.
And they didn't roll me up. I choked them out.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even good. I was nothing.
Yeah.
And then I got a little taste of people liking me.
Uh-huh.
Right. Because I got it because I had lost some weight over the summer. I was a late bloomer. Right. So I was getting more fit now. A lot of things came to fruition for me. And then I like, I wanted to be accepted, and I started to be accepted. So like, how could I be accepted more? I just said I was going to fight in the UFC right there because people started to like me. I was like, oh, people will like me more if I do that. But I couldn't say like the NBA or the NFL because, I'm a senior in high school. I don't even fucking play on the football team.
Right.
I played on the basketball team, but I barely started. So from there, I moved to Colorado. I meet my teacher, who's now my business partner. Uh, trained my ass off, barely graduate college. Don't ask me. I still have dreams that I didn't graduate from college because I have no fucking clue how I got that done.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, Nate, I would like go, I haven't been to class in 2 months. Maybe I should go. And, and I'd walk in, and we'd have a test. And somehow, I don't fucking know. I guessed right,
No way.
I
Wow.
guessed right and got a C, B
Yeah.
minus.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck yeah. I was a math major, and I would go to math class 80% of the time. Uh and I had these friends that I made my freshman year, and they would I'd go to their house 3 nights before the test, and we'd cram. They'd show me everything. I'd memorize it, get enough for the test, pass the test, and then fucking forget it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't remember anything, nothing, not a single thing.
Yeah.
But I got really good at fighting.
Yeah.
So that was it. One day, my wife, after I graduated, I was working at a bar. She was kind of sick of it, and she was like, "So, this is real cool and all, and I love that you're doing all this jujitsu stuff, but you don't make any money. You like real money, like where a life goes. So fight or get a job." And I was like, "Man, who the fuck wants a job? This
Right.
shit sounds crazy." So then I got a fight, and then I got on the Ultimate Fighter, and you
Got
know,
it. Yeah.
there it was.
That's awesome. That's incredible. So who are some of the people, championship leaders, coaches, mentors that you've had? And you mentioned a coach and now business partner of yours, but who are these people that have really impacted your life in some form or fashion? I
Yeah.
know.
So the first was this guy named Mike Garaguso. He was my karate teacher in New Jersey from the time I was 6 until the time I was 18. Um, he was an intense dude.
Yeah.
He was an intense dude, but he was always fair, I would say.
Mhm.
He was like, and he made me work. He made me want more. Like I can remember when I started working for him, uh, he paid me with the quarters out of the soda machine. I would get rolls of quarters for my work. And it was a little embarrassing, right? Like everybody made fun of me. But I was like, you know what? Fuck that. It's not gonna stay like this. I'm gonna work more, until the point where I can get a check. And then I
Yeah.
started getting a check, right? I was on payroll. And I got to really learn. I started teaching martial arts when I was 13 years old. So I really learned how to teach and how to become an instructor and make someone else be able to learn. So he was the first one. Um, Amal Easton was the second really great coach that I had and person in my life. And then there were a couple more, Dwayne Ludwig, Greg Jackson, and Henzo Gracie, who really helped, you know, forge my young adulthood, I would say.
Yeah. What are some of the characteristics that really stand out amongst some of those that really have stuck with you and formed who you
Oh, they're all different. They're all so different, Amal, for example, Amal lets you go be you, like he's not too concerned. He lets you be you. So that is an amazing quality that he has. Dwayne is intense as fuck, man.
are.
You
Yeah.
know, Dwayne was like, no, again, no, again. Like Dwayne gave me grit. You
Hmm.
know, Dwayne gave me grit. Greg Jackson showed me that he really loved me, you know, but at the same time, you could really love someone and make them run up the sand dunes and think they were going to die. And he's smiling, where you think you're on your deathbed, but he's like, we're great. We're great. So he showed us that calm, like it's all in your mind. right? Like all of this pain and all of this suffering, it's not real. It's in your mind. You might be in pain and suffering, but it doesn't have to be this bad, you know?
Yeah.
And then, Henzo's in some trouble right now. He's being a little crazy on Instagram and stuff like that, but god damn Henzo, uh he's hard to explain.
Yeah.
Uh I don't know how to explain him, but Henzo's the most famous Gracie, probably one of the most famous. He's the one of the most well liked.
Yeah. I've
But if
heard
I, but
people
if
talk.
I, yeah, if I called him right now, he would come.
Yeah.
He would come. Uh, he said a friend doesn't come in to break up a fight. A friend comes in with a flying fucking kick.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
It's true.
like and then I forgot somebody else, J Jack. J Jack is, one of them as well. Because and what I would say is he and Henzo are very similar. They live their life by a code. And you might not agree with their code,
Hmm.
but they fucking follow that shit to a T.
Yeah. Yeah.
They follow that shit to a T. They have core values. And again, I won't say that I agree with everyone's core values, but they have them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most people don't follow them. Most people break them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like Henzo's in trouble. Henzo gets in trouble,
Yeah.
right? And the most famous story for what he got in trouble for was a nightclub story. Where he beat up a bouncer, and the bouncer's, I think he's still in the fucking lawsuit or something. I think had to pay the guy like 200 grand, and he said it was worth every fucking penny.
Yeah.
Because the dude called a girl standing in line fat. Not his girl,
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
not his girl, not anybody he'd ever met before.
Yeah.
And he said, you need to apologize. And the dude didn't apologize. So he fucked him up.
Damn.
But
Yeah.
he lives by a code of values.
Good. Yeah.
My
Absolutely.
friend Jay has what he likes to call a guest list and a fuck you list. Again, a code of values. So I'm one of his best friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we don't have to talk all the time or anything like that. But I get my guest list and my fuck you list. So my guest list, he asks no questions. If you're on my guest list, you're good. He'd do anything for you.
Yeah.
Anything. Like literally I could die, and 10 years later my wife could call him and he would do it.
Yeah.
His fuck you list, again, is he asks no questions.
Yeah.
You're just on the fuck you list. I could be wrong in the situation, but Jay does not care.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Jay does not care. So he lives by a code of values.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, there's definitely something to be said about that for sure. Is there code of values that you live by?
What's that?
Do you have a code of values that you live by?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, my 4 rules. I'm sorry, my 6 rules of life.
Can you share 'em?
Yeah, you have to do jujitsu, and these are metaphorical and figurative. So you have to do jujitsu. You have to learn how to swim. You have to look people in the eye and demand respect and get respect back. If you're scared, you have to go do it. If you make your money work for you, you don't work for your money. And then the last one is you ride or die. If my brother goes down, then I go down.
Yeah. Those are powerful.
Those are my values.
You have to learn to swim. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, man. So again, I'm African American, right? And the leading cause of death for African American children over 2 years old is drowning. So gotta learn how to fucking swim. uh, so, and swimming to me is being able to tread water. It's not being able to actually swim. It's can you float?
Yeah.
Can you not go anywhere?
Yeah.
When times are tough, right? Sorry. When times are tough, when it's very difficult, when COVID hits, can you learn how to float? Can you learn how to stay alive? I had a business that was not going to succeed during COVID, right? I teach martial arts schools. We're the antithesis of social distancing, right? But could we float? Could we make it? I have 7 schools.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a lot of people. That's a big nut you got to cover every month with no students coming in. So do you have the infrastructure and the structure in your business to float? and in your life, can you just tread water?
Yeah.
So that when the current dies down, and you know, every storm runs out of rain, when the storm goes away, that you can start to surge again.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. What how was the transition for you from being a fighter yourself to now helping others along that same
Apparently terrible. It seems so easy.
yeah.
I just started the next day.
Did you?
Um, yeah, yeah.
So it
Plus
wasn't
I had my friends still fighting, and I was a good coach already. You know, I was teaching a lot. I was teaching them a lot already, so it was super easy. You know, uh,
so that was natural. You've always naturally found yourself,
mhm, mhm,
through work and experience, of course.
yeah,
But
mhm.
um,
I've taught since I was 13 years old.
yeah.
I've always been teaching. So, so the physical transition was easy. The emotional, mental transition probably not so hard. It led to a breakdown in 2016, where the demons and the devils of my past that I had never dealt with came home, and
Mhm.
then they said hello, and they're like, "Yo, you're gonna have to deal with us."
Yeah.
You know, this anxiety that I have, I've always had, you know, little bouts of anxiety through my life. Um, hey, you're gonna have to come. Like, we're either going to take over your life or you're going to take charge of your life. So I had to learn how to take charge of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. What uh let's start to wrap this up here. What is what's the vision for you, the impact you want to make, even
Oh, I have it right here. I have what I want. Oh, the impact I want to make. Oh, I just want to touch a life. I want to
vision back,
touch
like
one life at a time. You know?
one life at a time?
Yeah, man. I want someone to be. You know, what do I want to be? I want to be the Obi-Wan Kenobi of someone's life. Right? Like
Hmm.
like I'm an old Jedi, right?
Yep.
And I'm not gonna go fight Darth Vader anymore. But I want you to go fight Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And I want to be you, and I want to be your guide.
Why is that? You just something inside you that's always been that way, or I mean, I'm the same. I just curious where that comes from for you.
You can leave a legacy, right?
Yeah.
But if it's based on personal accolades, you're gonna have to be the goat, right? You're gonna have to be a goat. You're gonna have to be Michael Jordan.
Right.
The odds of that are very, very small,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But if you could touch someone else and then really change their life for the positive, you change the world as well,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
then how many people can you touch?
Yeah.
Can you go touch somebody else? You know, and can you your impact on the world for the good might be just as good as Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
you know? So uh unfortunately, look, I'm 40. My Michael Jordan days are over, right? Um but we are a socialized society where we need other people. So that's why, I guess that's
Yeah.
what I would say. You know, people, so many people touched my life,
Right.
like for such a in such a positive way that like I can't pay it back to them.
Hmm.
The only thing I can do is pay it forward to somebody else.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I love it. What's final question here as we wrap this up?
Mhm.
What are one or two things that, if the listeners were to take action to implement today for themselves, outside of everything we've already talked about, um, what would that be?
Well, first of all, I would ask everyone to sit down and figure out who they are.
Yeah.
You know, like go through, like, what does it mean when you say I am? So I am Elliot, or I am Nate, whatever that may be. What is, put some work into that. And then, well, you know, what I did was I have a 10, a 5, 3, and a 1 year goal. And I, you know, like, my 1 year goal has to help lead to my 3 year goal. My 3 year help lead to my 5 year, my 5 year to my 10 year. So where do you want to be in 10 years? Like, what do you want your life to look like? Because, you know, so often we go, oh, New Year's resolutions, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then that shit ends by February because it's not pointing at anything.
Yeah.
What's the North Star of your life? Where do you want to be? What do you who do you want to be? What will you have? What will you have to do?
Yeah. What's the 10-year for you?
My boys love sports, love
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
and they just play and play and play, and they're pretty decent. So I would love for them if they want to. Some of this is dependent on other people.
Yeah, you bet.
Um, so if they still want to, I would love for them to be playing college ball. My wife and I traveling with them, and I have booked speaking engagements to go along with some of the travel.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would like 3 to 4 big vacations a year with just me and her. Quarterly Jocko style, like retreat seminars, weekend retreats, 3 big revenue sources, a successful Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition team. And then I want Anna to be a world champion if she still wants to be a world champion.
Yeah.
Uh, so, I've had this student since she was 15.
Yeah.
And then I would still like to be teaching on Tuesday and Thursday nights, like I am teaching right now.
Awesome, man.
That's my 10-year goal.
Love
Not
the
a lot.
appreciate it.
Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, right.
Nothing too crazy.
But clear, that's for sure. What's anything else for the listeners before we wrap this up?
Yeah, man. Go check me out. Fire Marshall 205 on Instagram. On my website, eliotmarshall.com. So yeah, go check it out. See if there's anything that that resonates with you. If it does, give me a follow. That's it.
Yeah.
Just give me a follow somewhere, YouTube, Instagram. I don't really hang out too much anywhere else. Like, like Facebook. I'll scroll Facebook, but then I want to shoot myself in the head afterwards because it's so fucking terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really do. I mean, the same thing. I'll scroll Twitter, but I don't really respond too much on Twitter. But yeah, Instagram and my website. Go check it out. I have a book, The Gospel of Fire. I have a podcast, The Gospel of Fire. So yeah, go check them out and give me some feedback. Tell me what you think. Appreciate everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. I appreciate your time this morning.
All right, take care, man.